Welcome back to Dinar Shift, your dedicated source for in-depth analysis on the Iraqi dinar. The air surrounding the dinar story has become incredibly charged, a sensation that has captivated millions of followers globally who are tracking every whisper and claim. Right now, a tremendous wave of excitement tinged with understandable confusion is sweeping through the community. Phrases like activation, third RV phase, and the mention of Tier 4B exchange centers are being circulated widely, creating a near-constant hum of speculation. Our purpose here, as always, is to cut through this intense noise and present a clear, factual picture of the current landscape. We aim to break down what these terms truly refer to, what the observable facts are, and what the potential implications could be for anyone invested in or simply curious about the Iraqi dinar's journey. The Iraqi dinar, denoted by its symbol IQD, has occupied a unique and often high-profile position within global speculative investment circles for a significant period. The long-standing dialogue centers on the potential for a sudden and dramatic currency revaluation, or RV, which would fundamentally alter the dinar's value against major international currencies. This widespread theory is built upon the fundamental belief that Iraq's substantial economic potential, particularly its vast, proven oil reserves and the ongoing national reconstruction efforts, could ultimately provide the necessary support for a substantially stronger, higher-valued currency. This economic basis serves as the core reasoning behind the sustained interest from speculators across the world anticipating a future shift in the financial reality of the nation. The final quarter of 2025 has seen this long-running discussion intensify dramatically, fueled by very specific, persistent claims. These claims suggest that what is described as a third phase of a currency revaluation process has been formally activated and, concurrently, that new specially designated conversion facilities, referred to within the community as Tier 4B exchange centers, have purportedly begun operations. It is this combination of alleged operational movement, the activation of a final phase and the opening of conversion points, that is directly responsible for the massive spike in community buzz and global attention. However, in an environment saturated with such intense hype, it is paramount that factual information is sought out and prioritized over mere excitement or unverified reports, demanding careful scrutiny of the narratives being presented. To understand the core of the current discussion, we must dissect the concept of the third RV phase. This term, used extensively within the dinar-focused community, refers to what its proponents believe is the final, decisive stage of the revaluation sequence. According to this widely circulated, though unconfirmed, narrative, the entire process has been meticulously structured. The preliminary stage, or Phase 1, was dedicated entirely to crucial preparatory groundwork, focusing on establishing necessary financial systems and foundational infrastructure. This was then followed by Phase 2, which, according to the same narrative, involved deep internal testing, stabilization efforts, and ensuring the currency's domestic market was ready for a significant shift. Now, the supposed Phase 3 is positioned as the crucial tipping point, the moment the process moves from internal readiness to external execution. This stage is consistently described as the juncture when external access to the conversion process, or the actual exchange of the dinar, finally becomes possible for the broader public or specific groups outside of official government channels. The mere description of this phase, a transition to operational, external conversion, sounds undeniably significant and monumental to those who have been following the journey for years. It represents the potential realization of a long-held expectation, adding immense weight to the current speculation circulating in online forums. It is absolutely crucial to note, however, that the terminology surrounding these RV phases, the specific demarcation of Phase 1, 2, and 3, does not originate from any official government-sanctioned source or from Iraq's central bank. These terms are, in fact, predominantly constructs created and adopted by the online dinar community itself. Despite their unofficial status, the enduring and widespread use of these phases suggests a deep-seated conviction or a strong belief among followers that substantial progress is indeed unfolding behind the curtain. This persistent belief system is what keeps investors and speculators rigidly focused, hoping that the consistent speculation is, at long last, a meaningful precursor to verifiable, public action in the financial sector. The sustained nature of this speculation holds a profound psychological significance for those involved, as a pervasive sense of expectation builds within the community. When widespread rumors persist over time, they often foster a deep, collective hope that a major financial development is imminent. This is precisely why investors and followers remain so acutely attuned to every piece of unverified information and every operational hint that emerges. In their minds, where there is such continuous and consistent smoke, the persistent reports of phases and centers, there is a palpable hope that the long-anticipated fire, or the genuine revaluation event, is finally on the brink of igniting. Shifting our focus, let us examine the concept of the so-called Tier 4B exchange centers. For those encountering this specific phrase for the first time, it can certainly sound confusing, overly technical, or even suggestive of secrecy. When simplified, however, the term refers to rumored, specific locations, which are most often speculated to be certain established banks, key financial hubs, or even government-affiliated conversion facilities that would be designated to manage the critical process of converting the dinar for existing holders. The Tier 4 designation itself implies the existence of a structured hierarchy or multiple levels of access, suggesting a phased approach to the conversion process. The B component of Tier 4B is generally rumored to be the access point for specific groups, frequently including private individuals who were part of designated registration groups or those who expressed documented interest in the conversion process early on. The widespread narrative within the community dictates that the entire, large-scale exchange process will not truly commence until these Tier 4B centers are fully and officially operational. This rumored sequence places the opening of these specific centers as the immediate, visible prelude to the beginning of widespread financial opportunity. This brings us to the most critical, often repeated question in the community. Are these rumored exchange centers genuinely and officially open? And if they are, who is actually authorized to access them? At the time of this comprehensive update, no officially verified public announcement has been released from Iraq's central banking authorities or any high-level government entity confirming the general operational status of these specific centers for public use. Despite this lack of official confirmation, reports claiming full activation continue to circulate with great intensity across various online platforms and dedicated investor forums, maintaining a state of high alert and persistent anticipation among followers. The reason this intricate and largely unverified story commands such an extraordinary amount of global attention is straightforward and compelling. If the claims about a genuine, verifiable revaluation were to materialize, even with a modest but noticeable change in value, it would drastically alter the financial future for the massive number of individuals holding the Iraqi dinar. The mere thought of a long speculated-upon currency finally making a significant jump in its international value after years of dedicated tracking is a powerful motivator, driving the current excitement and sustaining the deep-seated interest across international markets. However, it is essential to consider the opposing perspective, which carries an important cautionary tone. For every narrative built on hope and anticipation, there is a counter-narrative rooted in the long-term history of the dinar market, which has often been plagued by exaggerated promises, recurring false alarms, and numerous misleading claims. Consequently, while a significant segment of the community is eager to embrace Phase 3 as the definitive signal of a new beginning, a more cautious and grounded faction urges everyone to prioritize verifiable, hard evidence before allowing themselves to engage in any form of premature celebration or action. This crucial dichotomy, the split between fervent belief and rigorous skepticism, is precisely where truly grounded, sober financial analysis becomes indispensable. It is the necessary process of methodically separating intense emotional desire and pervasive community rumor from verifiable, quantifiable reality. Followers must consistently and critically look for measurable shifts in the Iraqi financial landscape, ensuring that their current perspective is shaped by objective data rather than by the powerful, yet potentially misleading, tide of community-driven speculation. Taking a moment to establish a grounded view of the present situation, we should look closely at the current economic and currency environment in Iraq as late 2025 unfolds. The dinar's exchange rate against the US dollar has maintained a relatively stable position, currently fluctuating around 1,300 ID per $1 US. This exchange level has remained consistent for a considerable period, showing minor fluctuations but no major upward trajectory. This stability reflects the persistent and focused efforts of Iraq's central bank to maintain a controlled market, manage inflation, and effectively balance the country's significant revenues generated by oil exports. These economic fundamentals are critical, serving as the essential prerequisites for any massive currency revaluation event, which would involve more than just a minor appreciation. For a true and profound RV to be successfully executed, it would almost certainly necessitate significant, high-level shifts in major economic policies, potentially accompanied by simultaneous, clear announcements from both Iraqi governmental bodies and key international financial institutions. Crucially, as of the current time, this kind of undeniable, official signal has not been overtly observed or released to the public, underscoring the gap between community rumor and official action. Despite the visible lack of official, public announcements, supporters of the intense Phase 3 activation narrative argue that they are seeing concrete evidence of internal, operational movement. They frequently point to subtle yet persistent signs, such as claims that various financial institutions are quietly updating their internal systems to prepare for currency conversion, unconfirmed reports of high-level meetings, and even allegations that certain banking personnel have been formally briefed on new IQD-related procedural updates. For those who already believe these are not random occurrences but serve as compelling confirmations of a countdown to a visible, public shift in the dinar's recognized value. In contrast, the market skeptics offer a more reserved interpretation, cautioning that many of the observed signs tend to surface annually, often without any real, definitive outcome or subsequent follow-through. They warn that what the community is eagerly interpreting as a final stage activation could, in reality, be nothing more than routine, necessary banking system updates or technical modifications that are entirely unrelated to a revaluation event. The most probable truth may reside in a more nuanced middle ground, a path of very gradual, incremental steps that are building toward a meaningful long-term change, but not necessarily promising the immediate, rapid conversion often expected by the community. For investors and dedicated followers who are genuinely serious about effectively tracking the dinar's trajectory, it is vital to focus attention on 4 verifiable, tangible indicators rather than relying solely on speculative claims. Firstly, official announcements from the Central Bank of Iraq or the government are paramount, Any statement detailing new exchange programs, rate modifications, or public access is a major, undeniable development. Secondly, consistent observation of the interbank markets is key. Any measurable shift in the dinar's rate across credible international exchanges is hard, factual data. The third essential element to track is oil export performance. Iraq's economy is structurally dependent on oil revenues. When the nation's production output reliably rises and subsequent revenues increase, it naturally enhances the country's currency stability and allows foreign reserves to build. This buildup of reserves fundamentally increases Iraq's leverage to strategically adjust its exchange rate. Finally, political and reform developments within the country are vital. Sustained improvements in governance, a reduction in corruption, and successful, market-friendly reforms directly foster increased international confidence in the currency. These four factors will consistently provide far more accurate insight than any quantity of online predictions. The long-term psychology of the dinar community plays a significant role in how these rumors spread. For many, the concept of the RV has evolved into a kind of financial expectation, an eagerly awaited event that they believe will someday deliver substantial financial freedom. This narrative powerfully captures the human elements of hope, persistence, and occasional frustration, which is why every new phase, rumor, or activation story gains such immediate and widespread traction. It powerfully reignites collective faith. Yet, faith alone cannot be the mechanism that moves major global financial markets. The essential difference between engaging in market speculation and achieving genuine financial success is rooted in the process of verification. Therefore, it remains critically important to actively balance optimistic anticipation with a grounded sense of market realism. It is entirely possible, and indeed the wisest approach, to be fully prepared and ready for potential opportunities without falling victim to the inevitable current of market exaggerations and excessive claims. Maintaining this aware but non-naive perspective is the only truly healthy and sustainable mindset for navigating the financial landscape in 2025. To fully grasp the nature of a potential event, it is instructive to consider what a verifiable, large-scale RV would actually look like if it genuinely commenced. Such a monumental shift would be characterized by specific, public actions, the release of clear governmental announcements, the establishment of defined exchange windows, and immediate updates of the exchange rate across all major, credible financial platforms. You would also hear directly from major international banks detailing new internal compliance and conversion procedures, and the news would be prominently covered by major media outlets both within Iraq and globally. Crucially, a significant financial shift is more likely to exhibit a gradual strengthening in the market before any major spike, rather than an instantaneous, unexpected flip. In essence, verifiable and impactful financial change inherently leaves a clear, public and undeniable trail of operational and procedural evidence. Until such robust evidence is broadly and publicly visible, the most prudent course of action for all followers is to remain an objective observer, prioritize preparation based on verifiable facts, and steadfastly maintain a grounded perspective. While a certain degree of curiosity is healthy and encouraged, allowing unsubstantiated hype to become the primary driver for major financial decisions is consistently the most dangerous course of action for anyone following the dinar story. A common and highly relevant question persists. Is Iraq's current economic condition genuinely capable of sustaining a significant revaluation in the near future? The truthful answer is complex, suggesting that while it is not entirely impossible, the path remains challenging. Iraq's vital oil exports remain robust, and the country has made considerable progress in growing its foreign currency reserves. However, the persistent structural obstacles, including ongoing political complexities, pervasive concerns about corruption, and a continued dependence on international financial frameworks, make any rapid, massive currency shift a highly difficult and improbable undertaking in the short term. Consequently, Iraq's probable economic strategy would realistically focus on achieving a slow, measured appreciation of the currency over time, strategically avoiding the market volatility that a massive overnight jump would almost certainly induce. A gradual, carefully managed rise in value would effectively build long-term economic stability while also offering a steady, sustainable reward to long-term investors. This approach is fundamentally healthier and more conducive to economic growth than a sudden, unpredictable volatility spike. Therefore, when hearing claims of an immediate RV tomorrow, it is essential to remember that profound, sustained economic evolution typically moves at a much slower pace than the rapid, fire speed of online speculation. Examining the situation from a broader international context highlights another critical point: currency valuations do not exist in a vacuum. The dinar operates as part of a much larger, interconnected global financial ecosystem. If Iraq is to successfully and meaningfully strengthen its currency's position, it requires consistent international backing, strong financial partnerships, and a deep-seated, enduring market confidence. Achieving this often demands close coordination with other powerful central banks, firm adherence to recognized international financial standards, and the implementation of transparent, consistent fiscal policies over time. Only through these deliberate, long-term steps that prioritize structural integrity and international confidence, can a solid foundation for significant currency appreciation be securely laid. Consequently, rather than waiting impatiently for a miraculous overnight financial event, the smarter approach is to diligently track Iraq's long-term economic reforms and its progress in building foreign trust. When you see tangible, verified improvements in trade systems, stricter financial regulation, and an increase in international confidence, that is the most reliable indicator that the dinar's journey is truly shifting from mere speculative talk to transformative, enduring reality. Returning to the widely discussed topic of the alleged exchange centers, if these rumored Tier 4B locations were to genuinely exist and become operational, it would signify a structured, controlled channel for currency conversions. This process would most likely commence with strictly limited access for specific, designated groups before any potential broader opening to the general public. However, it must be reiterated that in the absence of verified, official documentation or credible, traceable reports, the entire concept must be responsibly treated as pure speculation, no matter how widespread the community belief may be. It is a non-negotiable financial fact that most reputable financial institutions across the globe operate under stringent foreign exchange compliance procedures. They absolutely cannot initiate widespread currency conversions based merely on online claims or community rumors. If a true and verifiable activation were underway, there would be undeniable procedural proof, including publicly available lists, mandatory verification processes, and clear official statements issued directly by the central bank. Until such tangible evidence is released, the conversation surrounding these centers remains entirely theoretical. Nevertheless, understanding the potential mechanics of such a system is vital for preparedness should real activation ever occur. A crucial element of this entire discussion, which must be addressed with utmost seriousness, is the imperative of robust risk management. The dinar market has historically been fertile ground for countless fraudulent activities, ranging from outright scams involving fake exchange offers to the circulation of counterfeit notes and the promotion of deceitful priority lists. Under no circumstances should personal or banking information ever be shared with any individual or entity claiming to possess insider access or secret information. If a legitimate conversion process is ever initiated, it will exclusively take place through universally recognized and regulated financial channels, not through unverified email links, coded messages, or secret, private appointments. Always verify every piece of information and every procedure through official sources before taking any financial action. As we progress further into 2025, the broader question confronting the community is not simply if the RV will happen, but rather the precise form it will ultimately take. Will the event be abrupt or a lengthy, measured process? Will it be universally open to everyone, or will access be initially constrained to specific domestic groups within Iraq? Will the resulting value increase be a modest adjustment or a dramatic, substantial change? These questions remain definitively open. What is a known constant, however, is that Iraq continues its work on modernizing its national financial systems and strengthening its economy. This sustained effort is positive for the long-term outlook, even as the path toward full international convertibility and global parity remains a lengthy road demanding considerable patience. The current narrative regarding the Phase 3 activation has become a profound and necessary test of the dinar community's discipline and judgment when facing intense news and rampant speculation. The ultimate question is whether followers will allow themselves to blindly follow every new claim or choose the path of analyzing verifiable data, seeking objective patterns, and maintaining strict financial discipline. The strategically minded individuals will always choose the latter. While the temptation to chase hype is powerful, it is infinitely wiser to adopt the mindset of a thoughtful strategist. This involves setting realistic expectations, rigorously tracking credible updates, and, most importantly, knowing precisely when to take action and, equally importantly, when to hold and wait. True financial success is not born from emotional impulses but from the careful combination of accurate information and precise timing. For those currently holding IQD, a simple but effective checklist for the immediate next steps is highly recommended. First, ensure the physical authenticity of your notes and diligently maintain all necessary documentation, such as original receipts or verification records. Second, stay actively connected to reputable, established financial institutions that have verifiable experience in handling foreign currency exchanges. Third, make it a regular habit to monitor and review official economic announcements released directly by the Iraqi government and its central bank. Fourth, strictly avoid making any panic-driven decisions, whether motivated by excessive excitement or deep-seated fear, as emotional choices frequently lead to costly mistakes. Finally, always remember that the dinar's long-term value, like any significant asset, is fundamentally dependent on real-world economic fundamentals. If Iraq maintains its trajectory of reform and stabilization, appreciation will logically follow over a sustainable period. So, where do all these converging data points and intense rumors leave us right now in November 2025? We find ourselves positioned at an intriguing and complex crossroads. There is undeniable momentum in the public conversation, a genuine curiosity shared by millions of worldwide observers, and persistent hints that some form of internal development may be slowly evolving beneath the visible surface. Yet, simultaneously, a significant official silence continues to prevail from the authoritative sources. This dual reality, the high volume of community buzz against the low volume of official communication, is precisely why this analytical update is so essential, as it helps to anchor and maintain a necessary perspective. The story of the Iraqi Dinar revaluation is clearly not concluded, but it is also not yet fully manifested. It remains in a protracted, perhaps slowly awakening, waiting stage. In the midst of this pervasive uncertainty, smart, factual preparation emerges as the single most critical advantage. acting as the edge that distinctly separates the well-informed followers from those who simply follow without question. In the upcoming months, viewers should diligently watch for a few critical defining signs. If Iraq's government or central bank publishes specific, official details regarding new exchange programs, that is a major, undeniable development. If credible international financial systems begin to systematically recognize and implement a formal rate shift, that constitutes a powerful confirmation. If local media within Iraq begin to openly and publicly cover the operational details of exchange centers, that will serve as the clearest possible sign of verifiable activation. If, conversely, none of these critical, visible signs materialize, it unequivocally signals that continued patience and measured observation are still required. The wisdom lies in understanding that patience, when combined with dedicated, fact-based preparation, is the most reliable path to maximizing opportunity when the anticipated shift finally materializes.